There we go. Oops. All right. So we're going to solve the triangle using our law of cosines. So what we have here is we have all three sides. In order to use the law of cosines formula here, which I know is microscopic on the screen, there we go, we need to know all three sides. So we're in a good shape to do that. So let's find alpha, simply because then we can follow our formula exactly and it's not quite so awkward to change things around. So let's find side alpha so we can get used to using this. So we know the cosine of angle alpha is going to equal side B, which is 8. We're going to have our B squared, which is 8 squared. That is a weird 2. Plus our C squared. C is 13. Minus our A squared. So side A is 20. And we put it over 2 times the product of the legs on the angle. So B times C in this case. 2 times 8 times 13. So now we know that cosine of alpha is going to equal, when we multiply it out, our 8 squared plus 13 squared minus 20 squared, negative 167. 2 times 8 times 13, 208. So we multiply those and we just type those in our calculator. And I'm just going to put it as a fraction because it makes my life easier. It's easier to type that in. But if you want it as a decimal, that's okay. My brain likes fractions better. So to figure out what the measure of angle alpha is, we do our arc cosine, our inverse cosine. So our alpha is going to be, I'm just going to write that out, arc cosine of negative 167 over 208. So we're going to type it in the calculator. Second cosine, arc cosine of negative 167 over 208. And we get that our angle alpha is going to be 143.406 degrees. So I have this angle significantly too acute, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be to scale. So now we know alpha. And we need to find one more angle. It genuinely does not matter which. I'm going to do beta because I'm feeling blue right now. I would like to do the blue tonight. I'm liking this dark blue. It's pretty. So when we set up our law of cosines, since it said we're going to solve using law of cosines, I'm going to use my law of cosines again. It's important to remember that when we're solving for angle beta, these two values are my sides that touch the angle, and this is my opposite side. So when we set up our law of cosines for cosine of beta, we're going to set this up really carefully. We're going to put our 20 squared plus our 13. Oh, sorry, that should have been pink. Squared. just switching the color. And we're going to subtract our b, 8 squared. It goes over 2 times the legs that touch it. 20 and 13. So we're going to wind up with our cosine of beta being a fraction that values what? Let me do it on the calculator up here. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to do my 20 squared plus 13 squared minus 8 squared. My numerator is going to be 505. You probably just like did the whole fraction in the calculator and it simplified it. So it's probably the same value. I'm just working with the values I got. So we have 2 times 20 times 13. We got 520. Yeah, everything's divisible by 5 up here. So we're going to do our inverse cosine of this fraction. It doesn't matter if you simplify or not. If you type it in as one fraction, the calculators will auto-simplify. But when we arc cosine the fraction that we get, what do we get for our angle beta? 13.795 degrees. So now we know angle beta. We know alpha, we know beta. To find gamma, triangle sum. We are not going to make our life difficult and do law of cosines again. Don't torture yourself. It all adds up to 180 anyway. So we know gamma is going to equal 180 minus those 2 angles we found. Our 13.795 and our 143.406. That audio is like sharp. I don't know what that was. So what's the measure of gamma? I'm going to go with probably yes. 22.7, what was it? 95. I just looked at my notes and realized I didn't actually find gamma. I just found alpha and beta and went, ta-da, do it. So now we know gamma and we know all the pieces, and holy cow, do these take forever. Naturally. I'm going to look at another one. We're going to practice it again because these are awkward, and I get that, but that's why we're going to practice them a bit. Okay, law of cosines is not as nice as law of sines. Law of sines is better. I like it better. Okay, this one, we're given a triangle ABC, and it just says solve the triangle. So we can now mix and match. It doesn't say we have to solve with law of cosines. Yay! So we're going to start with drawing a picture because I find it very helpful. You do not have to draw the picture. I just think it's really helpful. So we have a side A of 5 inches, a side B of 8 inches, and a side C of 7 inches. So I know my side A is going to be short. So let's make this side A. CB. I don't know. So that makes this A. CB. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. So maybe we have 5 over here. 7 over here, and 8 over here. Again, we're just kind of getting the vibe, but I find it helpful to see it. Even if it's not to scale, even if it's just giving us the relationship, it helps us see what we have and what we're missing. So, unfortunately, we don't have any angles, so we can't use law of sines. But we have all three sides, so I can use law of cosines to find an angle. Since I know all three sides and I need an angle, let's find alpha, because then I don't have to worry about changing letters around. So we're going to do our cosine of alpha equals, and we're going to set up our fraction. This is A, this one is B, and this one is C. So we're going to put our 8 squared plus our C squared, which is 7 squared, and we subtract our A side, our 5 squared. And then we're going to divide by 2 times the 2 legs that touch it, my 8 and my 7. So our cosine of alpha, when we simplify that, we're going to do our 8 squared plus 7 squared minus 5 squared. And we get 88. And then we're going to do our 2 times 8 times 7 to get 112. And to get our measurement of alpha, we take our inverse cosine. So alpha is going to be arc cosine, or inverse cosine of 88 over 112, or 88 divided by 112. And so we get that our measurement of alpha is 38.213. That is impossible to read. There we go. Better. So 38.213. Now we need to find our other angles. We don't have to use law of cosines this time, so we can use law of sines, which is good for us to review and remember. So we're going to set up our ratio. We're looking for another angle. Let's do beta. I know we can use law of sines now. So we're going to use law of sines since I know an angle. So we can, since I know two sides and I know my angle, we're looking for sine of beta over 8. And that's going to equal sine of our 38.213 over 5. So we can use our law of sines again, because honestly, it's easier. Law of sines is way less complicated. So once we have one angle from our law of cosines, switch back to law of sines. It's way simpler and still valid. So we know our sine of beta is going to equal 8 sine of our decimal, 38.213, over 5. We're going to inverse sine both sides to get the measure of angle beta to be what? what do we get?
81.785.
81.785. Degrees. So then for our third angle, triangle sum. Whenever we need to find the third angle, use the triangle sum. Don't even make your life harder. So we know that gamma is going to be 180 minus all the other angles we know. Our 81.785, where's the 1? There it is. And 38.21. Missing a decimal place? That's okay. 2 and 3. There we go. There was a third point. I would not have rounded differently between the two problems. So our gamma equals what?
75.002.
I have something way different, but that could be me making a mistake. 100% valid. So we're going to do our 180 minus our 81.78 something, or 78, what was it, 783? 75. Boop, 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 boop. And we're subtracting our alpha, which was 38.213. We get 60.
Oh, I think you did.
Okay, I was gonna be like, oh, you're very far off from me. So we're at 60.002. So basically 60 degrees. Okay, so law of cosines is grumpy and picky and complicated, but we don't have to use it a lot. We really only need it to find one angle or to finish out and get that last side so that we can then use law of sines, because law of sines is less complicated. So we're going to go ahead and call that done because I don't want us to try and rush through another one. We are going to do a quiz tomorrow over law of sines. Okay? So here's the homework numbers for 8.2. I'm going to get the answer for homework 8.1 up today. I think I have one left to do on it, and I'll get that done. It'll be up, probably be lunch. Okay? Up on the Canvas page just so you can look over what you have, make sure that we're kind of in the right spot, that we're kind of vibing on the things we need to do. Okay? So, yeah. We have 4 minutes left. 3 minutes left, so I didn't want to rush us through it.